Murdock. I own Murdock's Moving and Storage. We have a branch in Chico and now Yuba City. Chico was the original. About 10 years ago, we started that. And about 2 years ago, we started Yuba City, but only 1 year ago, we got the physical location here. So about, I'd say, 2 years ago, I met you two?
Mm-hmm.
Is that about right?
Yeah, we met at a MLS meeting.
Yep, and I go to that meeting. I typically, I'm hit or miss on that one because I've had to delegate a little bit more so I can, hit the new territories. But meeting these two, when they did that's why they do it, right? They did a presentation to do outreach. I was there, I'm like, I had a need, right? I don't do well with any of my marketing, right? I'm good with people, but digital marketing or, coming up with ideation. I don't know if you guys know Cameo, but her ability to come up with ideas is next level. So we'll be at lunch sometimes and she'll just be like, oh, what would be cool? And just, you better have a notepad ready.
Yeah, it's fun just kind of hearing all of her different ideas come to life. You can start to visualize like her different ideas of what the project should look like, and it's really fun to have her as a partner.
Totally.
Oh, thank you, I did not expect that. Well, you know what, and that's what I love about what we do, is we get to work with different people, different industries, learn what they do, and then when we get to learn your personality, it kind of gives me an idea of like what you're gonna be open to, right? Like if you were really like straight-laced conservative with how you wanted to do things, my ideas for you would probably be a lot different than they are knowing that you're like a fun person, you like to make people laugh, you're really involved in our community, things like that actually contributes to what I think might work for you.
And that's a great point, Cameo, is I think in business a lot of times, and we all own our own businesses here, and it's the backbone of the U.S. economy is small business. Mm-hmm. And so I think people are afraid to have the human in business.
Right.
They're like, oh, like you nailed it. What will people think of me? And I think if you stop worrying about what people think, obviously there's some, I don't touch politics in business or, religion or anything. There's some no's, but like other than that, like there is a huge opportunity because people do business with people. Right? You're not Amazon, right? Like dealing with this huge corporate machine. Mm-hmm. Like we see each other, right? I've been to your house, we've had dinners together, we've done events together.
You came to our wedding.
I was at your wedding, which was awesome. At downtown Yuba City by the fountains. That was a great wedding. But yeah, I just think that you hit it on the head. Like, if you're gonna think about opening up your marketing channels, I think video is king, and Jake's invested, I don't even have the dollar amount, but a lot into his videography equipment. It's all around us right now. And in the other room, he's got his little handheld things. He does it for the downtown business, Yuba City. And Jake's very passionate about videography. Mm-hmm. And you can see it in his eyes. I would challenge you to like open up. If you're like, I don't do any marketing. I'm not comfortable with marketing. Well, then get it off your plate. Let these people handle it for you.
Yeah, if you're a plastic surgeon, go be a plastic surgeon.
Yep.
Right? And if you're a wonderful mover, this allows you to focus more on your team and your business. I remember actually meeting you at MLS. That was really great. And what stood out the most about you was that you were actually cooking breakfast for everybody. Mm-hmm. You were serving them breakfast. So when I got there, he already gave me a plate of food, which is how you get my heart. So it was easy to become friends with them. But that's what it really takes, in my opinion. Having an ideal marketing partner is someone that's willing to go above and beyond on their own turf as well. Because we can take you to the next level in digital marketing, but getting out to the meetings, getting out, meeting people, building those relationships, that takes the digital marketing to another level, because then it's the old school with the new school, and people want to work with people they like, but they also have to be reminded about you constantly. So that's a really good mix.
Yeah.
Which is why I think you make such a great partner, because you are willing to do the harder work of getting out and meeting people and putting the time into your community.
I appreciate that, Jake. And do you know how many times it takes off the top of your head for someone to remember you for branding purposes?
It used to be like 7 times back in the 90s and early 2000s. Now it's closer to 17 times that you need to have some type of reminder, driving by a billboard, getting a call or a text, or even just a friendly email each month. All those different contacts or connections are what help keep that brand front of mind.
And also builds a lot of trust too. I mean, and that's what you're doing when you're out in the community and you're doing branding campaigns, is you're building trust. And then that way, when there is a need for your service, you're going to be thought of because you've already done the legwork. And so going back to when we first met you and that breakfast, I mean, that really stood out to me too, because it showed me that Murdock's moving, and I had never met you before. I'd never seen your company. We don't go to Chico that often, and you had just ventured into the Yuba City area, but it stood out to me that you and your team are so hospitable. And you guys are givers. I mean, it's not free to feed a room of 100 people. I'm not sure how many were there, but it felt like about 100 people there that day. And so it just really stood out. What drives you, what made you want to even get involved in serving breakfast with the realtors?
That's a great question. So I think, like Jake said earlier, a key to somebody's heart is, often through breaking bread, literally, or like, serving people food. Because like you can give people like, gift baskets, which I'm not knocking gift baskets or coffee cards or gift cards in any sense. But if you physically bring food, lay it out for them and, serve them, or, they can self-serve, but like something about feeding people that just develops a warm connection. And I've never been that type of business owner that just asks for referrals. Like, hey, what can you give to me? It's a two-way street, right? Like, what can we get together, right? By you giving me and me giving you. And a line from Tony Robbins is 1 + 1 doesn't equal 2. It can equal 5, it can equal 6, right? Like, what can our partnership create in our community, right? And I think that we've done a great job collaborating, and Cameo's huge in the downtown Yuba Association. I just got an email from her. We were talking about it on the way over. She's big into like supporting the community, and I think by giving back, like through our breakfasts, developing those relationships, because we've kind of pulled back on some other digital marketing in some senses, and have pushed forward on like community relationships and other digital marketing. I can dive into the weeds on that, but you want to find out what works, and these people are experts in that. So Cameo is very creative and creating the ideas. Jake's really good at executing the idea, and together these people are amazing. So
I think one of the biggest key terms that you're actually talking about right now, I always love key terms just because of SEO, is servant. I think it would have been a different experience if you hired a couple of like catering companies to just stand there during the MLS. It was more meaningful because it was you serving to the people in that room. Beyond the food, and the food's great, but it's like I see that same type of growth and interactions at the food bank where people are serving, and I can see them growing professionally and personally and spiritually and in their own soul. And that's what really works for us too. That's why we've changed a lot of what we do too. When we do our podcasts, it's really about being able to highlight and shine another small business in the area. We typically don't even talk about our marketing company, our videography. She gets in here and it's just all about that business almost every single time. This is probably the first time we've talked on camera more about what we do with the business and less about just trying to highlight them, because that's what works for us, is cheering, being a servant, just helping others without anything in return. You know what I mean? That's actually been our biggest tool, is because now we have the support of our community, and with the support of our community, it really feels like we can't lose.
It's our biggest joy too. I mean, because how do you feel when you serve someone?
really good,
Really.
intrinsically.
So good.
Yeah.
And it's hard because it's not transactional. It doesn't always equal
Cool.
money, right?
I love that.
Sometimes it hurts to serve.
It does.
I have a funny story if I could share.
Please.
We're talking about breakfast. I have to give a shout out to one of my best friends, Eunice. He owns the waffle shop in Oroville and Live Oak. Amazing food, and that's where we get our food from. So talking about relationships and networking like that, I've known that man for a number of years, 20 years, and that's where we get the breakfast. Gives me a great deal, and in turn I get to promote him at these where we cater the food. I have a big old sign, and it's just like what goes around comes around, right? And I want to shout out everybody, in the network and the community. But the funny story here is we got our dates mixed up. Well, not our dates mixed up, but unbeknownst to us, we didn't realize that there wasn't an MLS meeting on the day that we actually brought breakfast. So we brought breakfast for like 80 people to a room that had 0 people in it. And we felt so silly, and I'm not gonna waste the food, right?
Yeah.
And I can't eat all that food. So we ended up finding out a local, I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head, here in Yuba City. It's over on the, going towards Marysville. Helping Hand, is there a hand?
Hands of hope.
Hands of Hope,
Yeah,
thank
yeah.
you. And we called them up, we're like, hey, we've got food for X amount of people and we want to give it to you because we don't want it to go to waste. And they were so receptive. We brought it to them, laid it all out for them, and it was cool. They were super appreciative, and it's like,
so cool.
like you said, it felt good to give back. It didn't go to waste, and yeah, it was a funny story that turned into a beautiful moment of giving back to the Yuba community.
Hi, Wendy and Frida with Cal King Pest Control. Justin King, we've been with them since 2008.
Thank you for your loyalty.
And thank you for taking such good care of us.
What is your future with Murdock Smoothie?
That's a great question. You know, I've always had a long-term vision of 3 branches, 10 million a year with 20% margins. That's just my numbers, right? And that's what I created. It's funny, I told my mentor that in Chico, and he's all, that's it? What?
Dream big.
What? And he's got a much bigger dream than I do. So it's funny, Tommy Mello says, you know, dream so big that everyone on your team's dream fits within it. And that really spoke to me. So to answer your question, I'm going on to Sacramento to do the 3rd branch. You know, got Chico, a little further south, we're in Yuba now, and then Sacramento North area particularly is the 3rd branch. And I have a process to it. So we're gonna go there first, open up the marketing and the leads and drive, because I was just telling Cameo this, I think sales and marketing should drag operations with it and not the other way around, right? Have the horse before the cart. So long story short, 3rd branch, Sacramento, I'm going there in June of this year, 2026, and I'm gonna start doing all the community relationship building, the marketing with these 2, doing new videos, and the things these people can do with targeting specific demographics and with AI coming into the picture and just everything that you can do that I don't have time for. I'm a mover. I develop moving companies. I can't handle all that. So these 2 have been a pivotal partner in my business and targeting new areas. So if you're thinking about scaling, please keep these people in mind. Electronic Playground. So they're awesome.
Yeah, I think one of my favorite things about Murdock's moving, and I can say this, it's hard to talk about yourself like in a positive light, so I'll do it for you.
Thank you, Jake.
You know, it comes down, I think there are a lot of different moving companies out there, and I've got to work with a lot of them, and I think what sets you apart is your team. You know, being able to talk to the people answering the phones, I've got to hear some of the calls, listen to how you interact with your team. It's like what Tommy Mello said, you know, corporate companies, they don't want to treat the employees like people. They don't want to bring them in like family. They tell you to kind of distance yourself. Tommy Mello preaches different. He says, bring him to the barbecue, bring him to the party, treat him like family, treat him like friends, and then watch your business grow. And I think that's what you do. And I've seen it, you know, with Carlos. I've seen it with CJ. I've seen it with your own brother that works with you. I mean, it's beautiful. And I think that is just one of the great things that comes from Murdock's.
Appreciate that. We just did a kickball game last summer.
Of course we did.
And we got it on, you can see it on our socials. It was a lot of fun. The guys loved it. Next time I'll have to invite you guys, maybe we'll get some content out of it. But you know, it was a ton of fun to like hang out. I have never been opposed to like getting the team together and, you know, catering food and just having a good time with the frontline employees, because I just got done with Moving Legends, where, you know, a guy that's 75 years old, he owns Gentle Giant Moving in Boston, and he even said up until, you know, he's getting a little up there now, but he would be on the trucks with the guys. I've actually designed, I'm going on the trucks tomorrow to work with the crew, because like I'm not afraid to get my hands dirty and get out there and work with the team, right? And I think, like you said, in corporate America, you would never see the CEO working next to frontline employees, and I don't believe in that. So I think it's important to know your team. Know, you know, we do weekly, you know, pep huddles and, you know, calls, and just kind of like motivate the team. And I see you guys doing a lot of the same, right? Your team has grown quite a bit, right? When I first met you, it was you 2.
Right.
I think you might have had one person in the front. And can you tell me about how big your team is now?
Yeah, so right now we actually have a team of 3 in office. We just hired our 4th in office person. And then we have 3 remote workers that one of them is full-time, and they handle after-hour operations for website updates and things like that. So we have a really versatile team. And what I love about our team right now is Alberto, he has a degree in marketing, and Julian has a degree in business administration, both from Chico State. And so we have a really well-educated team, and they are hard workers, they're dedicated, and they want to grow with us. And so I'm super happy with where we're at with our team.
Yeah, you guys have grown exponentially, and it's cool to see, you know, like, you think, you know, you're so, you know, I'm so head down in the sand, or whatever the expression is, like, I'm just growing my business, and you don't think that people you're doing work with, like Electronic Playground, they're growing too, right? They have a business and they're growing, and that only helps us as businesses. So, Jake, do you want to speak a little bit about that?
Yeah, just specifically about growing. You know, with growing, if you look back at it, you're like, oh, and someone else looks back at it, it's like, oh, it's okay, they took these steps, they took growth. It's like, but there's a little bit of growing pain that comes with it too. You know, because I didn't know we'd see the light. I remember when we were working earlier on with Electronic Playground, we didn't have a CRM system yet. You know, it was like, who's in my phone book? Who have I written down in my notepad that I'm going to call back? And it was a system that worked, you know, because we generated revenue, and that's how we kind of started our business. And she's got a great memory, so it's like she just had a lot of things in place already. But she learned early on, we need a CRM. We're losing control of the tasks, the people, the opportunities, and I couldn't see it because of the cost. You know, it's like, why would I give away the $700 a month of revenue that we had just secured for this system? And, you know, being able to actually put trust in my partner and be able to take the opportunity to use that software, we were able to go to the next level. And, you know, now I preach CRMs like it's nobody's business. It's like, what are you doing with that one? You know, I actually have services where I go in and integrate CRMs to make sure that they're connected properly for people. That's how much I believe in that type of software system now. But it was a growing pain, you know, because I'm self-educated in business, where I think a lot of small business owners are. You know, and there were other opportunities as well. You know, trying to get capital to hire someone to grow is always scary too. You know, to take out a loan against your business or even personally. You know, but those are challenges that we felt personally as well. You know, but overcoming those, just the fear of it, and just like kind of hopping in there and putting some trust in your team and in your partner, I think has been why we were able to grow and why we continue to grow. And we've got big goals. We've got friends that we hang out with that encourage us like you do. Here's my goal, and then they just kind of throw it off the table. Like, what are you talking about? It's like, let's talk about big boy goals. And I'm lucky enough to surround myself with the right types of people that challenge me in that way. You are one of those people, actually.
Oh, thank you.
Of course.
Appreciate that. You know, I got big expectations for you too.
Yeah.
I just see you taking over the whole North State with your marketing agency. So I believe in them. We were just talking about, I want to do more with them, right? You know, she's so creative that why not utilize that? So the ROI on the investment that, I put into them is more than, proved itself to be worth it. I was going to talk to you more about CRMs. Jake's such a brilliant mind here. He's integrated a few things into our CRM through Zapier that have helped automate some of the things that we do in my business, right? Anytime somebody calls my business, it automatically creates a lead in our CRM. So let's say they called and then hung up or something, we still get that information and we can call back and try to help that client. Whereas if they called, maybe we saw the missed call, but maybe we checked our call log, but now it's in our CRM, we have to, notice it. And we have a process that we follow at Murdock's, that, they enter the leads in the system, and they create the estimate, and they call the client, and they email, text, and then we're working on another one with our payroll software that Jake's, I'm not gonna go too deep into that, but it's just gonna help automate things. If you can automate things in your business through technology, it makes it worth it. If you're still on a pad and paper, not that there's anything wrong with that, but you're talking about your pre-CRM days. I also have those, and I was working off of Excel sheet invoices and emails. Right. And I remember that, and it's so easy to get things lost in the sauce.
Right.
You get busy. You're spending time with your family, and I know you guys have a big family, with kids and animals, and I love you guys for that. But yeah, anyway, Jake's very brilliant with integrating technology into your technology. So.
Oh, he's helped us so much in our own business with the integrations and automations. I mean, we're constantly adding things into the workflows and trying to, what can we take off of our day-to-day task that is just tedious work that literally, if a computer can do it, let the computer do it.
Yep.
So automations are fun because they can save so much time. For us as a business, we're kind of like that lawn service where we're going out and taking care of everyone's automations. And we just recently in the past year really looked back at our own automations and workflows and started putting more of those in place. And we're like, we're starting to feel like the relief from some of those automations. But I would say for anyone that hasn't really got into automations, but maybe they have a CRM, I'd say the one thing you'd want to focus on is your tracking. Is to actually make sure that when your leads come in, that like you said, you're not missing them in any opportunities after hours. You can kind of track your team to see how they're interacting with these leads, but also the source of them. And I think that's the most valuable part of the tracking is being able to not just look at your ads, but be able to look at your organic and to find out where is our growth, where is our opportunities, because then it allows you as a business owner, as me as a marketing company, to make real decisions based off the data. You know, if we're not winning on an ad platform that we won with last year, we can identify that earlier on and make a pivot. Like you said, we were doing more digital last year, and this year we're going to focus on more community outreach in a different method. You know, we can make those decisions based off the data that we have. And then we can make decisions to go back once we see data that proves that we should do that. But I really love the organic, finding out why people are landing on your website in the first place, or maybe why they're not landing on your website in the first place. I've seen companies that might be lawyers that don't have the word lawyer on the front page. And it's like, and then you go on Google and look up lawyer, they don't show up. It's like, well, there's a lot of simple solutions to fix it, but we have to find out where it's coming from first. And that comes all the way down to your CRM and just that tracking.
Yeah, Jake did an immense amount of work on my own tracking. So we use CallRail for tracking numbers. And so when somebody calls that number, it integrates the lead source into our CRM. That's one step of it. But he also integrated a bunch of UTM tracking on all the web forms so that wherever they were and came to our web form, it knows where they came from. And so just all of that data made us, we just had a meeting, was it last week? And we decided to pull back on some things that weren't performing as well as we'd like and push forward on some other things. And I think that is everything, right? So if you're not tracking all of your lead sources, this guy can help you with that.
Another thing that's really that stands out with you as a business owner that some other business owners haven't really maybe seen maybe the light bulb hasn't gone off for them yet is the collaboration that you are involved with in your everyday business. I mean, you are alongside other movers. You're not like, I'm the only mover, I'm going to keep all the secrets to myself and I don't want to share this with anyone else. You're best friends with moving companies. So
true.
Why do you do that? Why not just keep everything to yourself?
Yeah, so I think that's a very old school style of thinking is like hoard all the information and like be very like secretive and like I can't release like, even if you're in my area, I'm willing to help you out because there's enough for everybody to eat, right? And maybe you're doing something that I'm not doing and I could do better and vice versa. I mean, I know I could name 5 movers in the Northern California area that I'm really closely, tied with. So I just think the new way of thinking is like, we all go to these conferences and we share ideas and we mastermind and we talk about it. And one of my good friends, Justin Dote, is in Woodland. That is what, 45 minutes from here, maybe?
That's where I was born.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
He's an awesome guy, and we talk, at least every couple weeks about things, and he tosses ideas, and I toss ideas, and we talk about challenges. So I think what you're bringing up is a very valid. If you're still closed-minded and don't think that you can get help from your community, even in the same industry, I would challenge you to like shed that mindset and think about what could we do together, right? Because I told you 1 + 1 doesn't equal 2.
Right.
It could equal 5, 6, or 10, or what did Austin say? 10x that each.
Challenge yourself to break the barrier because it might just be a thought, right? It might just be a perception. That competitor might also not really follow that line of thinking, but maybe they feel like you do, or you don't. So break the barrier, call your competitor, meet them for coffee. How can we grow together in our community? How can we serve people together?
I totally agree with that.
I remember me and my competitor were actually in Reno playing old school video games together during my bachelor weekend.
Yeah.
Nice.
Because he's not really a competitor. He's like a close friend.
Yeah, they're friends.
We understand each other. and I've got to learn so much from them. And they've actually opened doors for me that I couldn't have opened for myself, and I appreciate them.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, I learned a lot of that from you as well, because I got to join the moving army, same as you, and just to see this brotherhood, being able to communicate and share needs and questions, and it doesn't seem like there's ever a stupid question, although you could probably get a couple laughs. People are just very honest with you, and it's a great source for movers. So, I mean, if you're in a different industry, I would challenge you, like me or Neacail, to go find your group of people, even if it's online, especially if it's online, because those people are ready to stay more connected, I think.
I like that. I think this was great. Yeah, I'd love for you guys to have me here. You know, we've been talking about meeting up, you know, and I wanted, you know, I know you guys are very humble people, but I wanted to get on here mostly to tell everyone how great you two are and your team, and how you guys interact with your team, and just watching you, very family orientated, you know, and anybody that comes into your business, you treat them like family. So it's very cool to see from the outside, and you know, the quality of work you guys are putting out. You know, you guys are just fantastic, and I'm not going anywhere. So
Thank you so much.
yeah, let's go.